Chef Daddy James here with Chicago Sugar Daddy. Welcome back to Zodiac Bakes. On this episode, we are doing Aries. So let's have some fun in the kitchen and let Chef Daddy James teach you how to be a sugar daddy. So what I'm thinking for Aries is I'm gonna have some fun with this and make it more of like a fun cartoon kind of cake. So I'm thinking of doing a ram kind of head on the front of the cake. Looks like a bunny right now though, but that's okay. It's just a drawing, you know, we're just having fun here. We're doing a ram because that's our animal for Aries, and then our element is fire. So I'm kind of thinking of a fun cartoony ram coming out of fire, kind of almost like a phoenix in a sense. The drawings is to kind of get an idea of what I'm looking for. So I like to use color in the drawings so I can see how the colors in my head would work out with each other. It's supposed to be a cartoon cake, but it's kind of turning looking more into like a heavy metal looking cake. Looking at it, I think I actually might get rid of the ram. See, this is also why I like to draw. Is that actually the whole cake itself will be fire. And we'll have flames coming all up on it. And then I think we will actually do the ram up here. So the body, head, and let's go have some fun and make an Aries cake come to life. Alright, so I'm getting buttercream all in my piping bag so we can start building this cake. I like to use a piping bag because I feel like I have better control at getting consistent layers when I'm building the cakes. So as you can see from when I was doing my mock-up drawing, that the idea I was going with just didn't seem to fit well after kind of getting a visual of it. And to me, I feel like that's what makes a good cake decorator, is knowing and understanding the cake itself and all of the elements that you're wanting to put on the cake and how they can work with each other. And one idea you might have, it might not work, and then you realize, oh wait, this would work better one way, or the whole design, you kind of just change it. And that's the other good thing to me that makes a good cake decorator, is leaving room for change. And being open to it to allow, basically, in a sense, the cake speak to you, if that makes any sense. We're just looking up some cartoon fun rams real quick for inspiration. Despondent day. I'm gonna make the general body and head. I'm going to start with the head shape first so I can get the size head that I want. I'm just going to get a nice ball going. I'm going to start, kind of feel like the head is still too big. We're going to just looks like a duck, not gonna lie, but that's okay. I feel like I'm an Aries because Aries are known for being passionate and always hot because of our fire. But I'm thinking we might actually, like I said earlier, part of, I feel like what makes a good person at doing cakes is adjusting their plan. Just not, well, feeling this character version of what I'm doing. So, we're still doing a ram, but we're just going to change the concept a little bit more. We're going to just do then their eyes are like on the side. And we'll just place the head on the cake with the flames around it. By kind of changing it and doing more of the head, it'll look like it's emerging out of the flames, like a phoenix. I suppose if I do it the other way and kind of trying to do the whole body, that is going to end up looking more like the ram is chilling there in, you know, the fire. It's like, hey, what's up? I'm chilling here, sitting in fire. Yeah, we'll make it more metal looking, which I feel like is kind of becoming the vibe of this cake. Is a metal themed ram. There we go. Look at that. And now we're just gonna start adding some texture into this guy. Depth texture, because we can go in afterwards with some food coloring, maybe some airbrush. Comment down below if you're an Aries and what month and day that you're born on, because a lot of other people don't realize this, but you can both be Aries, or all three people could be Aries, but there's different types of Aries depending on what month and day that you're born in. That's not the way I wanted it to. So we're making a little bit of indentation where I'm going to put the eyes. Oval shape. Alright. I think little details helps to bring your figurines that you make, gives it a little bit more life. So we're gonna let our ram head kind of set up a little bit, and we're gonna work on covering our cake. Now we're gonna cover our cake, and I'm gonna cover it in black fondant. And as you can see, I've got all my fondant in tubs that are airtight. By having it in the clear tubs, I can see all the different shades of the colored fondants I have. So then that way I know which ones I want to work with. But it's really key to make sure you keep your fondant in airtight containers so that it doesn't dry out. So when covering your cake in fondant, you always want to make sure you've got your table surface floured, but not with flour, either cornstarch or a powdered sugar, or a mixture of both. I personally just prefer to use cornstarch. I feel like powdered sugar dries it out quicker, but the other plus side about using cornstarch as well is that on the bottom part that is touching the table, so like this part of the dough, is got covered in cornstarch. So what happens is that it helps to adhere the fondant to your buttercream, because cornstarch is a thickening agent. When you're rolling your fondant out for your cakes, you typically want to take the height of your cake, so let's say 4 inches on both sides, so it would be 8 inches, and then your diameter of your cake, which is 6 inches, about 6 1/4, 6 1/2, depending on how thick your crumb coat is, which gives you about 14 1/2 inches. You would want to have about a 15-inch diameter dough to cover the cake in. Now that we are pretty much there, so we'll grab our cake on our turntable, and then we're going to pick up our fondant, and we're going to go ahead and cover our cake up. Starting on the top, pushing out all the air, And you're slowly gonna work from the top down, opening up your fondant as you go down. So as you can kind of see like this, to get the ripples out so you get that smooth look to your cake. And then you're just opening up the fondant, pressing it down, getting out the wrinkles. 1/4 of an inch thick you want your fondant to be typically, because then you don't have a huge thick layer of fondant on your cake. But you also want it to be thick enough to where it hides everything. Because if you have it too thin, as you try to pull it, it will crack and break. So you want to make sure you have it thick enough to where you can kind of pull it. Because you're also, as you're pulling and covering the cake, in a sense, you're also stretching the fondant. So you want to have a little bit of extra fondant for when you're pulling it and stretching it, so you don't cause it to crack and rip when you're covering your cake. Cut off all the excess real quick. I like to cut off the excess first, leaving a little bit more around the bottom, just that way I can do any final touches I need to do on the cake. Once that's all set, we're just gonna go in and we're just gonna cut off the extra ring of fondant. As you can kind of see, this is kind of what happens if you pull it. And anytime you're building cakes, obviously if we're wanting that smooth, complete look, I would redo this, but we're covering the bottom of the cake and the sides of the cake in fire. So all of those little knickknacks will get covered up. Cornstarch off the table. Clean as you go. Makes it easier to get the job done. For the sides of the cake, I'm gonna do buttercream. For the flames, we're doing a combo of buttercream and fondant fire. I personally prefer to use gel colors than water-based colors. The gel colors just take better to the buttercream and they mix better and you get more vibrant colors. The other trick that you can also do is you can actually take it and you can melt your buttercream in the microwave and then mix it to get a more vibrant color. But I actually just take a shortcut. I like to torch and get a nice thin layer of it melted and then mix it, and it helps to enhance the color of the buttercream. Now, since we've got it yellow, we'll go to orange. It's a bright orange, but it's also, could be the bright orange, but it could be brighter. So by taking the torch and melting it a little bit, woo, fire. Hey, we're Aries, right? Gotta enjoy that fire. You can see that it enhances the color even more. And like I said, take the torch, heat it up a little bit. As you can see, it took it from like a dull bright red to a bright red. So we're gonna start with our red, and I'm just gonna start applying it to the cake. And I'm just smearing it all around. I'm not going to be worried about getting it smooth. I don't want it smooth, it's fire. We're going to start building up on it. We're going to take our orange and then just do and repeat. You want it to be cold because then parts of it will start to set up right away, but then there'll still be some parts that are a little wet. Then it'll allow you to blend in the colors so you get that fiery look. And get most of the color off of our offset. On to our yellow. Working Dipping it in, smearing it around. Adding some little touches to other ones. So now we're gonna make some flames with fondant. A new batch of red, yay. I'm not rolling them into really long logs, just short, fat, thick logs, because what we're gonna end up doing is end up rolling them together. And we're just gonna push them together. Key to keep putting cornstarch on your work surface so that fondant doesn't stick. I'm rolling it out so many times so that I can get the colors merging into each other, so it's not such a clear definition between the colors. Take a look at both sides to see kind of which one I like more. As you can see, this side's got more red and on the top and orange and yellow. I suppose this one, the yellow is kind of not that much as it is on this one, so I'm going to use this side. Start just doing random cuts to kind of give us that fire feel. Because, you know, fire is flamey. Grabbing the bottom and just ripping some of it off to help have them all stick to each other. And now we're going to get our cake together. We're going to grab our ram. We're going to actually use a little bit of buttercream and we're going to prop this guy up. The color is called Flesh Tone. So I'm going to start with that as a base. So I'm doing the darker colors towards the bottom of the ram and then the back parts. Kind of almost in a sense where shadow. And then I'm actually going to take, with the brown I have in there, I'm actually kind of going to go over the fire a little bit just to kind of darken it up. I'm going to do some black. To kind of like focus on the nose and just add a little bit more depth into some parts of the ram. I'm thinking just go over a little bit of the fire, just kind of darken it up a little bit. And just put a little bit of white with the black to do gray, just kind of give it more of the cake overall. A gloss. Add our flames around this guy. And just roll out a little bit of the fondant that I kind of just marbled. And just using it to help fill in the gaps. And take some red, just a little, not a lot, a little bit more red, but go on brand with the darkening. And use some yellow. Just kind of give it add my favorite thing to add to a lot of things, gold. I like to add gold to stuff. So to do the gold, it's just your luster dust, high proof vodka. Just gonna add a little paste. Powder form. Get it on my brush. I'm just gonna add an undertone. The horns. Add it into it. Fire, just to give it some vibrance around the bottom. Your luster dust. Just give the cake shine, sparkle. I'm just gonna do it all around the cake. Here's my finished Aries cake. Thanks for watching Zodiac Bakes, and for all you tourists out there, comment down below your favorite colors and we'll use it in the next video.